flag on the play. All you talk about is sports. Today's going to be a little bit different. Today we're going to talk about all of the red flags that you could see in a relationship, and when it's time to pick up your bags, put your shoes on, and get the hell out. Okay? Now, I do not have a family in terms of meeting someone and having kids. I'm still young, so there's a lot I still have to learn about life. But for someone that's 22, I've actually experienced quite a lot. I've dealt with depression, all that shit. I've dealt with good, bad, and ugly relationships. And I'm going to tell you right now, there are blatant flags, and we're going to go over them of when it's time to leave. Because a lot of people are in denial, and so was I. Don't make the same mistake I did, and I'm here to save your day and hopefully your future. Ladies and gentlemen, red flags in a relationship. Water is just slaps. Water hits different, really does. Anyway, I'm not name dropping. So if you're looking for drama or tea, I might give you some drama, but I'm not giving you tea because I am not going to name drop anybody that I've been in a relationship with, and I'm not going to tell you specifically how each one ended. I'm just going to go over scenarios I've experienced, and I'm not name dropping. Like I said, I am not that type of person where I am going to physically call someone out over a YouTube video because it's just not worth it. Anyway, there are a lot of red flags that can go into a relationship. Everything is all peachy at first, and that's expected. The first date, to me, is the biggest pile of shit I've ever experienced. Because the first date, nobody's being themselves. Oh, am I being too much? Am I being a little bit too much? I'm a little nervous. Cut the shit, okay? You go in there, please and thank you, you hold the door, and you either agree to get into a relationship with this person, or you say no. Now, that's not something that usually happens on the first date, because if you get in a relationship on the first date, I want to know what kind of relationship you're going into, because I've done that before. Big mistake. But the first date is not a red flag. You can see red flags from the first date, but the first date is, to me, you're just meeting them. You're seeing their physical appearance, and you're just seeing how they interact. But it's not the person they are, and we know, even ourselves, how we act on the first date. Just so cheesy, polite, and respectful. Not saying that people watching this aren't respectful in general, but just how people react and interact on the first date is a little bit extra, and it's just a little bit much. But that is not a red flag. What is a red flag? I don't have an exact list, but I have different red flags I've experienced. The first one, if you are in a relationship with someone that wants to look at your phone to find evidence, first off, you need to get out of it, because anybody that is looking for evidence on your phone in a relationship is probably in high school, okay? So cut that right away. That is a red flag. That is a cut the relationship red flag, okay? If they do it once, they do it once, but it's still weird, okay? Because I've never been in a relationship where I asked to see somebody's phone, because that is a very weird thing. If you are not confident or trustworthy in the person that you are with to the point where you have to go to their phone and scroll through to try to find something, you have a problem. Now, this could also be your problem as well. If you do it once and you physically do it, and then you do it again, if you start to become insecure and you're one of those people that constantly go through that person's phone and you are looking for something or you think that they're hiding something, that's a different story. But you shouldn't be going through somebody's phone to begin with. I don't know why anybody would ever do that. That's very weird, okay? I've been in a relationship like that where the person, on the other hand, constantly wants to look through my phone, and this is the red flag that I drew from it, okay? First off, you constantly going through my phone is weird, but you're doing it, I think, to justify what you're doing on your end. Now, maybe that's overthinking, but it wasn't me overthinking, it was how it actually was. In the situation and the person that I was with was actually doing stuff, and I ended up getting cheated on. How about that? Okay? If the person's looking to go through your phone, that is very weird, okay? And you need to ask them what kind of mentality they have to where they'd want to do something like that. Because if you don't have that mutual trust with the person, or they're still on that level of wanting to go through your phone, that is a very, very weird thing, and that is a red flag, okay? Nobody knows about you. What do I mean by that? Now, due to different situations, some people will see this differently, some people don't. When you're in a relationship, it usually leads to you meeting the parents. depending on how long that relationship actually is. So, I've been in a relationship where I never met the parents. Now, a lot of people will say that's a red flag. To me, it was something that made me feel not happy, didn't like it, especially because any parent that I've ever met, at least from what I was told now, maybe when the relationship ended, they thought, oh, this or that, liked me. I never gave them a reason to not like me. I don't think so. And if I did, sorry, not going to change for anybody. Now, the parents don't know, okay, but nobody knows. You're in a relationship with this person for 6+ months, and nobody knows you exist. Their friends don't know, their cousins don't know, their parents don't know. Nobody that they are associated with has any type of knowledge of you. That is a red flag. I don't mean just the parents. I don't mean just the grandmother. If there is nobody on her side of the things that know that you exist, that is a red flag, because she is hiding you. She is hiding you because somebody that loved you, even if, because, one of the relationships I was in, I never met the parents, right? And I was upset about that. But I was brought to her best friend, okay? If a girl's bringing you to her closest friend, there's a good chance that she's not hiding anything. And I never thought that she was hiding anything. I never had that experience in my last relationship. I never thought I couldn't trust her. That is one thing that I appreciate with the last relationship I had. I never had a feeling of not trusting her, okay? She brought me to a closest friend. Then eventually I met her cousin. So all of these situations where, I didn't meet the parents, right? Kind of sucked. But I met people that were connected with her. So it gave me a sense of ease a little bit. And when I found out, I'm not going to go into detail, but when I found out why I didn't meet her parents, still was upset. But then I was like, okay, this type of situation. Arranged marriages, this is not my situation. This is just generally speaking. Arranged marriages and certain things like that can make it very difficult because the person is heavily religious, and I'm not blaming religion on anything, but certain things where religion can have some type of positive or negative influence on your end in a relationship can be very difficult to deal with. But again, I would never ask somebody to stop following their religion. I would never ask somebody to not believe what they believe to make my life easier. I was never one of those people. But that is just one of the situations. Nobody knows you exist whatsoever. Another one is you stop talking. You go from the beginning, what are you doing, what are you doing, what are you doing, to talking. Again, not every day, because some people are clingy. I've been clingy in relationships. I've been not clingy in relationships. But if you're talking to that person constantly, once, twice, 3 times a day, whatever it is, and all of a sudden you just stop talking less, that could either mean a couple of things. Usually, it means that they don't have the interest, or it could mean that they're a very, very busy person. But usually, if somebody cares about you, no matter how busy they are, they will either say good morning or good night at some point. Okay? If you go from talking constantly and seeing each other constantly to no longer seeing each other, not as much. If they're busy, that's a different story. So from constantly seeing and talking to this person, it's less. That is a red flag, because that usually means that they are either entertaining somebody else or they just don't have interest in you and they're afraid to tell you that. Okay, that is a red flag. Another red flag, I experienced this one. Everybody warns you. Now, I've been in situations where you're with somebody and the ex is still jealous and the ex still wants to be with that person. So they will try to tell the person that they are now with that they're doing something behind your back. You can't trust this woman. Get away from her, right? That's one person. But when multiple people, and I mean probably at least a dozen, tell you that this person is bad news, they're probably bad news, okay? Because I've been in a situation where person said this, another person said this, another person said, stay away, she's doing you bad. Eventually, everybody's not lying. I'm sorry. Unless there is a massive plot against you and you are somebody of fame and fortune, usually when multiple, and I mean I'm talking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, even more than that, tell you that this person is bad news, they are bad news, okay? Very bad news. If that person sends you receipts to prove that this person has been doing XYZ, that is another red flag. If this person sends you receipts and these receipts line up with everything that you did. I had a situation where I was talking to someone. I went back and looked. The call ended at this time, and the person sent me a receipt with the date on top of that call beginning. Multiple times. So if your information and what you have lines up with what that person has, probably not a good sign. Probably not a good sign. Another one, I was with somebody, dropped them off at somebody's house, okay? When I did this, said it was a friend's house. Now, one of the first red flags of that situation was don't drop me by their house. Drop me on the other side of where that person lives. That was, see, this is, but I had never been through this, so I never knew to not do that, right? Drop me where that other person is on the other side. I was like, okay, that's a little bit weird. Why can't I drop you right where that person lives? When you drop somebody off at somebody's house, you don't drop them 2 blocks over, you drop them near the house. But I kind of went with her excuse, and I think that it was something around the lines of, oh, their parents there, they don't want me to see you with you, the person doesn't know about you. It's like, all right, whatever. So I did that, and I texted her about 20 minutes later. Call didn't go through. Maybe your phone's dead. Let me tell you something, ladies, and people watching. 9 times out of 10, when a girl tells you her phone is dead, it is not dead, okay? Girls usually never have their phone dead. That is something that I've noticed, okay? That was the excuse that she was going with. My phone's dead, okay? So, all right, if your phone is dead, my message should still go through. But the problem was, her excuse just added to my questioning. She told me there was no service. That is bullshit. And let me tell you why that's bullshit. I dropped you off 2 blocks away from where you were going, and I had service. I had service. So you're telling me in New Jersey, okay? There's service everywhere, okay? So that's no longer an excuse. You're telling me that I dropped you off where you were. You went to this person's house. I dropped you off. Let me verify this, okay? I dropped you off not by the front door, okay? First off, that's weird, because I've never seen anybody get dropped off at somebody's house down the block, okay? Then, supposedly in this area of 100 feet, service just cuts off. So you're telling me that all these people that live in the house that you were going to and around you have no service, and that was the excuse, and that's the one you're rolling with. That was probably the biggest red flag of that relationship, okay? I dropped this chick off, not where she was supposed to be. Her service went off. Her service didn't go off, okay? That was a bunch of BS, and I knew it. But I was in love with this person, so I elected to stay with him, okay? Her service didn't go off. You're in New Jersey, okay? You could be on top of the Empire State Building. Well, that would be a bad example, but you have service, okay? Because all of a sudden you leave, and then you have service. So that was, okay. Dropped you off, not where it was. I only did this once. Okay. Manipulation. If you love me, you'll do it. No, don't try to flip that shit on me, because that's not going to work. Okay. Don't try to flip that shit on me. We're actually running almost toward 15 minutes here. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm actually liking the way this is going, but I don't know how many people are going to actually sit and watch this for 15 minutes. But that's part of the problem. Okay. Don't say if you love me. No, the manipulation, that is a problem, not just with females. Everybody does it, okay? That was the problem. This person's parents called me and said she's doing stuff. I saw it on her phone. Get out. That was the last red flag, okay? Then this person admitted that they did something to me. We broke up. That was it. Then I took her back. Big mistake on my behalf. Never felt the same. 2 months later, I'm done. I can't do this. And that was that. That was that, okay? I use that relationship as an example because that was the most toxic relationship I've ever been in. Because the first one ended mutually. The third one, not so much mutually, but I didn't have a problem with it, okay? And both of those people I have no issues with. That relationship experience had about 15 different red flags. And I'm telling you, you can prevent yourself a lot of problems if when you see a red flag, you bring it up in question. And how that person responds to that question, to me, now I'm a great talker, right? That's just me. Not everybody has that. How that person acts and reacts to that question can be a game changer. Okay? This was relationship, well, not so much relationship advice, but just red flags that you need to avoid. I hope you enjoy.